the logic and the elements I'm teaching you in this YouTube channel, and you can't argue with it. It's obvious. It's so plain to see how these markets are being delivered. And if you're one that likes to argue and say there isn't an algorithm, or if you say that these concepts don't work and all that stuff, it's because you want some excuse why you can't do it yourself. And I don't want any of you to feel that way. Okay? I don't get a high or, get my rocks off because people stumble and not do well with this, because I know why they're not doing well. You're not doing the work that's required. That means going through your charts and doing what I just did here every single day and being passionate about it, looking at what it is that has been shown in price action. What is it doing? What is it not doing? The things I've taught you in this lesson tonight is, in my mind, it's charter level teaching. It literally is something that I would generally reserve for charter members only. That means the people that have been with me for a year or more and they're under my tutelage in my private community. So this is a lesson that literally would come from that type of student level. But I'm applying it to what you're learning with this model. It's applicable to Forex. It's applicable to bonds. It's applicable to gold. It's speaking to people with the expectation that you're just now learning how to do this. I'm aware that there's a lot of you that are veterans that have been trading longer than the average person coming to my YouTube channel. But I have to speak in a language that is palatable for a new viewer. Otherwise, I'm going to speak too, and this might be too lofty for a new viewer anyway, but hopefully it will intrigue them to see that there's a rhyme and reason to everything I'm teaching, and they repeat. It keeps happening. Every single day, these signatures repeat. So the question is going to be is, what are you going to do with this information? Are you going to just say, okay, well, this is great, but this is too much work, so I'm going to look for something else that gives me a moving average crossover or some kind of a bell and whistle to put things on my chart to tell me what to do. And then you're basically creating a religious trading style because you're trusting something other than price. Because what have I shown you here? Just price. There's no indicators here. I'm only putting these areas in here with this rectangle to highlight an imbalance. I don't have these on my chart. In time, you won't either. But in the beginning, while you're learning, it's important to annotate your charts so that way when you log them in your study journal, that way at the end of the week, you go back and look at all the intraday price action, then you look at how the weekly chart worked within that whole panoramic view of intraday, daily price action. How did it all fit together? And by doing that, you're literally getting snapshots of every individual day, then the daily chart and the weekly chart, and how it fulfilled its entire weekly range. When was the high formed? When was the low formed? What was the biggest day of the week? What was the framework around that biggest day of the week of movement? And then also break down, obviously like we're showing you here, where trade setups, it doesn't make a difference if you didn't trade it. Everything anybody ever learns is always done by hindsight. You want to be a doctor, a surgeon? Guess what you're doing? You're working in hindsight. You're studying medical journals about things that took place that you were not there. Okay, you're studying hindsight. Don't let these goobers out there try to discourage you from studying, because I'm teaching you how you are going to get better at this. You do what I just showed you how to do right here, and you do it every single day. You're going to develop your own style of keeping notes in your charts. I'm not going to do that here because I don't want to make an example and feel like you have to do exactly what I said. Okay, what do I mean by that? To me, it's fascinating to see people comment in the comment section of the videos, or they'll send me an email, or I'll listen to people that obviously are trained under me and they make videos on YouTube. I can hear my fingerprints or read my fingerprints in the way they talk. They'll say certain things, certain words, certain expressions. I can see my own fingerprints on them. This part, I always leave empty, and I do the same way of teaching even in a private group, because I never show them annotations outside of the things I'm showing. Because over here you might write an observation about something that you may want to further investigate, that I might not even touch on in this discussion or lecture. But it's important to you, so you use the space in your chart to write those things down. And then you come back to that chart on Saturday at the end of the week, or Sunday if that's the day you're going to do it on, and you revisit the entire week, and you walk through the entire week of how it delivered, how many pips did it move, and how much risk would have been incurred in the trade. So all those things work towards a model that you'll grow accustomed to trusting, because you'll have back data and you'll have examples that you've trained yourself to see over time. And by doing this, your psychological makeup as a trader will be formed with these things in mind. So that way, when you're watching price action, it'll leap off at the chart when it's forming, and you'll remember something you saw hundreds or thousands of times before that generally repeat over and over and over again. Does every single day look exactly like this? No. But there's a lot of similarity to the things I'm showing you here that repeat. So it's a matter of knowing what you're looking for. If two bears are walking in the snow, one's younger and one's older, and they're walking in the snow, will both footprints look exactly the same? No. But you'll recognize they're both bear prints, and you'll recognize which one's larger or older and which one's younger. So that's what it's like when you're looking at these signatures in price action. They are generally very close to one another in terms of repeating the same type of way, but they're not going to be so identical that they're indistinguishable to the next one. Like, you'll be able to see that that's a different day of trading, but you'll still recognize these repeating phenomenon that is so telling in the marketplace, but you can't fully appreciate it right now because you're only now just becoming introduced to it. And maybe you've watched some of my videos, maybe you watched all my videos, and you see when I do this and it resonates with you, you're like, man, I get it because he's showing it to me. But then you go out into the chart and you try to do it, and it just feels like your chart is organized, or it's not so obvious to you what you're looking for. That's normal. That's how it was for me for a long time in the 90s. For a long time, I struggled and floundered trying to figure out what I'm supposed to be looking for. I'm teaching you the things that repeat. Your job is to keep going into the chart, annotating them, and keeping a running log, a study journal of what the price action has done and what you're observing. You can't get hurt because it's already happened. The move's already happened. So you're studying it. So what you're creating is the greatest technical analysis book that you're ever going to own. And you're doing it in your own words, with your own work. Because when you buy a book, what are you getting? You're getting snapshots of something they're saying, this is the important thing about this particular chapter or the theme of this particular book. I'm showing you how you need to stop buying books. But there is no books out there except for the ones I put in that one video that's in my library. Honestly, that's it. No other books are necessary in trading, in my opinion. It's the same garbage that's repeated and rehashed, and people are just trying to do a cash grab. You're not going to learn anything except for bad habits and flawed logic. Now, when you've created a study journal with thousands of examples and you've been doing it for years, you're going to be astonished of how much of a technical analyst you are years from now. And you'll be able to see a lot more setups that you just don't see.